And now, right to your host of this House of Musicians, Barry Smith.
Hey, good evening, fine listeners, and welcome to this House of Musicians radio show, right here on Reality Radio 101. We hope you enjoy the next hour with us as we do our small part to help promote musicians, bands, and, of course, venues. Gary LaBar, how are you this evening?
I'm fine, and we have a duel on today.
We have two wonderful folks, and one wonderful folk was our guest last week, Mr. Dennis Kahn, but we are introducing our guest this evening, Linda Eileen Kahn, who is a three-time Juno nominee. We're going to spin a couple of her wonderful songs and talk about her music career, Gare. So there you go.
Excellent. Can't wait. And the people are loading up, listening around the world. We love it.
Absolutely. That's great and great to hear. Folks, here she is, Linda Eileen Kahn. Hi, Linda. How are you?
Hi, Barry. Hi, everyone. We're just doing wonderful. Thank you.
Well, that's great, and it's such an honor to have you on the show. I know Dennis Kahn sitting there with you, our last week's guest. Dennis has been a good friend. I hadn't seen him for quite a long time, but we did have a lot of great times and back in the day when we were playing live together and whatnot, and Dennis has had also a fabulous career as well. So, Linda, let's start right here. When you were young, how you were introduced to music. Was it your parents? Was it your older brother with a record collection? I'm just curious on how you got introduced to music and at what age you started singing.
Oh, my goodness. We were very young in the church choir, myself and my sister Carol and my brother. And we always sang, and he played guitar and the harmonica. And I started with the big old pump organ. And I'd sit there and learn how to chord to my dad playing fiddle. And I was only about 8 years old.
Amazing.
And eventually, I would fall off now and then, and I'd be sitting on the Eaton's catalog and Sears catalog, and they'd dig me up and dust me off and set me back up there again. So that's how we all started. And then in the choirs and the concerts at the school. And then later on, my sister and I had a little band in Kingston, just doing like Ontario Park and that sort of thing. And the jamborees, and then I finally decided, well, you know what, maybe we should try and put a record out, because everywhere we went, people kept saying, oh, you guys can really sing, and we've written a few songs. So I had some albums, and I looked at the album, and it said the name of the artist, and then it would have the writer's name and BMI. So I thought, well, what is BMI? So I called BMI and asked them, how do I make a record? And they said, well, do you write songs? And we said, yes, we do. And
that's amazing.
We just have to
calling BMI. Hey, call them right up, and they ask you, do you write songs? I mean, that's
and you still can do that with SoCan today. Their number, like, you can reach them anytime. They're really good that way. But
sure.
Anyhow, they said, well, we have a publisher that's just stationed in Kingston at this moment. So they gave me a list of publishers, and this one was in Kingston, and his name was Joe Palaschuk. And he had worked prior to that in Winnipeg with, I think, Rage St. Germain, and had produced some TV shows and that. So we called him up, and sure enough, he came over to check us out, and we got writing songs, and we decided that we were going to try and get in the music business, like record a song. So we recorded a single, which was called Empty Closets on one side, and written by my sister, Carol.
Amazing.
And Country Blue on the other side, which was one of his and his wife's tunes. So we went into the studio, and we had some great musicians on it, all the regular Toronto musicians. Al Cherney on fiddle, and Red Shea on guitar. John Arpin was on piano, and Ollie Strong on steel guitar, Larry Good banjo, Lori Bauer singers. And so we made the record, and then he shopped the label for us, and A&M signed us. And so they released that, and as I say, 6 months later, I was nominated for a Juno, and praise God.
Yeah, that's amazing. Let me cut you off for. Yeah, let me cut you off for 1 second, Linda, because this is impressive. This was in the early 70s, and you became, you said that you did a single with A&M, but you were only the second artist signed by A&M Records Canada, and the first artist was Ian Tyson. That's incredible.
That's right, yeah. And in the States, see, they had Rita Coolidge and Chris Stockerson into the country market. And the president of A&M in Canada was, at that time, he used to be the promotion manager on Decca Records in the United States. He promoted More and More, which was a Webb Pierce big hit back then. And his heart, his heart was still into country music. And so anyhow, if the single did well, then they would sign up for an album and a 5-year contract. So that's what we did. And they released, I think, 4 more singles off that album. So it did really well for us.
And 6 months later, nominated for a Juno Award.
Yes, and I was up there where I shouldn't have been because I was praying that I didn't win. Because I just wanted to run around and get autographs. I mean, there was Burton Cummings and Marie.
You're like me.
I think Paul Anka, I can name Valdi. They were all there. And just little Linda Brown, barely 19 years old.
Amazing.
So, yeah. But
no, you're like me in that regard. I've always heard artists say, I have to be equal to the artists I'm with, so I don't go around asking for autographs and stuff. But I run a radio show, and I try to get as many autographs as I can off the artists. I'm a big fan of a lot of people, a lot of music. So I'm sure that will never change. But okay, so here now you have a Juno nominee. You're at the Junos. Let's keep talking about that. That's pretty exciting. You said Murray McLaughlin was there, which, by the way, he's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks. So that's
you probably remember me maybe because he's the one that introduced called my name. I still have tapes of it. When,
cool.
I was Linda Brown, and so we released Rolling on Homeward and More and More, which was the Webb Pierce standard, of course, and I'm Crying in My Coffee, and they all did really well. And then I got another nomination of the Top Female Country Singer and Big Country Award, the CCMAs. And so that went on for a while, and then A&M dropped us because they got out of country music because it wasn't bringing pop sells quickly. Country takes the time to build up, and the States went out of it. So of course Canada went out of it too, and I was stuck on the contract for 5 years. So that's why after the 5 years was over, I wasn't about to sign with any other major company. That's when I decided to put Love Don't Grow on a one-man show, and Don't You Know I've Been Crying Out on our own label based out of Kingston. Mm-hmm. And I had a good manager, and we released it to the radio stations, and lo and behold, it ended up in the top 10, top 5 country and A.O.R. charts, which was a nice surprise.
Amazing.
But I always believed in if you're gonna go into it with both feet. And we had some great musicians on that session too. John Capek produced that at Manta Sound, and we had Gene Martinick on the session, Brian Russell, Tom Skesniak, Jordan Anderson. The backup vocals were Bill Hughes and Alan Soberman and Steve Kennedy, and the strings were Milan Kamlicka. And so when I took that to Nashville, they loved it, and I was under management there. I didn't sign. I was just still, waiting to see if they were going to do anything. So I was managed for a while by Jerry Chestnut. I already had some contacts there with Cedarwood Publishing. They had published some material of mine prior. So it was back and forth to Nashville for a while, and then it was when you have children at home and a family at home, I just couldn't live with it. So I just decided to come home and release it in Canada myself because I didn't want to move out of Canada.
Absolutely, totally understand. I'm sure a lot of artists have done that in the past as well. And so now, when you were doing all this in the 70s, and I'm assuming 80s, you were touring as well?
Well, I did. I went out to Alberta for a couple of years and traveled BC and Alberta with the family. I was Linda Brown then, and I had Lisa and Todd, and oh my goodness, we traveled everywhere. And the stories on the road. The cat had 6 kittens in the car, and we had to take them from one hotel room to the other when we were booked. And there was some of the stories we had was amazing. Between sets, the kids would be upstairs having worm races in the sink and things like that.
Now, hang on. You said worm races?
Worm races.
That's awesome.
Angel and Todd, yes. Angel's down there in the States somewhere now living, and, oh, yeah, the kids.
Longest races in the history of the world.
Worm races, yeah.
Worm races. That's amazing. Well, a lot of artists, why don't we do this? A lot of artists have some amazing touring stories. I usually talk about this later in the show, and it's one of my favorite parts of the show, but tell me something crazy right now that happened to you while you were touring back then.
Oh my goodness. Well, you're standing there on stage singing, and your son is with his head stuck around the corner. Mom, are you finished yet? Mom, hurry up.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, Lisa won't give me my shoe. The cat's having kittens. You name it, it happens. But anyhow, we got through that. We came back to Toronto and played. I did a single. I decided I wasn't going to have any more musicians in my life. I was just playing a single with a 12-string guitar, and I was booked all over Toronto. Made really good money in those days too. You ran from the agent every time the phone rang.
Right, yeah.
So there's so much work, you probably did the same. And then I met Scotty Well, and we ended up getting married to Scotty, and was with him for a long time, many years. We had a really good marriage. He was a really good artist, a good guy. Played guitar and accordion, and he was learning fiddle, a great singer. His band was called Silver Wings.
Right.
And he had a band prior to me, and we did a duo for a while, and then we worked with Roy Penny for a good, about 9 years. And Brian Barron was in the band, and we had a great time. And we played at some of our favorite places around the city, and we released a CD called 'Cause I Love You. And it was recorded at Shag Sound, which is Dennis Burnett's studio here in Toronto. Great.
Yeah, I did a 10-song recording with Shag Sound and Chef Adams back in the day too, so I know Dennis well.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was great. And so that really did well. That 'Cause I Love You, released it again. We released I Don't Know How to Leave You as well. But I hired a professional promoter, Lauren Tutty, in the East Coast, and RDR Joe Wood sent it to the stations for me. So we had really good reception on that as well across Canada again. So I've been really lucky. Whenever we release something, we manage to get a lot of airplay. And then someone sent it to the States, and it won International CD of the Year from the Rural Roots. Yeah. And so then Scotty passed away, unfortunately. And that was really, really rough. That was totally devastating in my life. And I had good friends that brought me through. People like Pat and Bev Walsh at Cave and Valley. We had worked there for years. And they used to say when I went back to singing after I could catch my breath, so to speak, they said, we don't care who you have to work with, just as long as you bring yourself. So that's a great place to play anyhow. A great venue for the bands is Cave and Valley at in Lakeshore Road East in Mississauga. Yep. I'm sure a lot of your listeners have heard of them. And we have a good agent, which is Tina and Tony, that book us all over Toronto, or well, actually the GTA, Tina Talent. We do a lot of corporate gigs, me and Dennis now.
Yep.
And Tommy at Army Navy in Mississauga, he used to book me and Scotty, and he booked me and Roy and Derek Pilgrim and Dennis as well, Dennis Kahn. So, and this weekend, as a matter of fact, Dennis is at Mary's Legion Branch C44 with Tim and the Roadhouse Boys. So we're keeping busy and try to get everything out at once. So I don't know where I left off.
That's okay. No, but you're mentioning that Dennis has a gig coming up here. Isn't it wonderful to be back playing? I've talked to so many artists.
Can't wait. Yeah, I love that little band. It's the Roadhouse Boys, and they play such danceable, good music, and so they're it's outside, so, and it's at a Legion, Branch C44, but we also do Branch 582, Vince and Tom, or Branch 11, and we have a lot of followers there. As a matter of fact, those are the people that steered me to Dennis, because I worked for Vince at 582 with Derek, and Dennis worked with Tim there. And Vince used to say, Linda, I really love to see you with Dennis Kahn. He said, that would be a match made in heaven. You two would be so great together. And I said, why? And he said, well, you just belong together. And then Pat and Bev at Cave Valley used to say the same thing. Pat would say, Linda, you should be with Dennis Conn. And that would be too good to be true. Match made in heaven. I'd say, what's a Dennis Conn? I had heard of him and seen him playing, but I didn't really know him, you know.
Well, you hit the jackpot with Dennis, that's for sure.
Yeah. So
you couldn't ask for a more loving guy, nicest guy in the world.
I better go check this guy out. And then, so I did. And my little friend, Sheila Songbird, she's a great little singer. She's 80 years old. And we got her singing again, me and Roy Penny. And so she threw me a birthday party at Cave Valley and invited Dennis. And the rest is history. What can I say? So we are working on a CD too. We did some demos with Albert, Albert McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
And we're busy, like before COVID started, we were run ragged with gigs. I mean, he was still on the road a bit, and he was doing gigs with him and with me. And so things are starting to pick up again. So, looks like.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of artists. I talked to a few artists here lately, and particularly we had one artist on the show, and they were basically saying, actually I was at the artist's house doing an interview with him, and he was saying, it's the first time, big Canadian band, it's the first time I've been on stage and after a song or two actually told some of the guys in the band, you know what, bro, I love you. It's amazing. Like it just, because you took it for granted before being out on stage playing all the time. It was just a thing that we did. And you take that away from artists, and now they're in a different euphoria when they get back out there. So I think that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Well, there's an old saying, you never know what you have until you lose it, and
100%.
Yeah. And so you appreciate your family. Speaking of family, I went to Cape Breton, and the Conn clan down there is just as talented and beautiful as Dennis. I got to say hi to Krista and Johnny and Judy and Alan and Flora and George. And George hasn't been feeling well, so we wish him all the best. And Babe, who is Emil. Oh, my goodness. We got together with George and Emil and Krista, and the music was just incredible. Oh, too bad you couldn't have them all on together.
Right, there you go. Well, while you're saying hello to these people, let me tell them as well, and our great listener, that if you want to ask Linda any questions at all, please email thishouseofmusicians@gmail.com. That, again, email address is thishouseofmusicians@gmail.com, and Linda will be happy to answer any questions that you have. Linda, why don't we do this, dear? Why don't we play your song Waking Up Beside You, and we'll come back and discuss that for a little bit.
Okay. That was an A&M release back in the 70s.
Yep. An A&M release in the mid-'70s, a song that Linda sang called Waking Up Beside You, right here on this House of Musicians radio show on Reality Radio 101.
As I watch you while you're sleeping, I know I'm only keeping you a while. For secret dreams of places are hidden there beneath your tender smile. I know you never planned it, so I don't understand it, but then I won't even try to, 'cause I'm waking up beside you once again. The fear The morning sunshine finds you, I'll be waking up beside you once again. And honey, in the morning, let me hold you close and love you once again. The fear still grows inside me, but when the morning sunshine finds you, I'll be waking up beside you once again. Waking up beside you once again.
Hey, welcome back, fine listeners. We have Linda Eileen Kahn on the show this evening, and we just listened to her song Waking Up Beside You, an A&M release. By the way, you were the second, I'm going to repeat this, the second artist to be signed by A&M, and the first was Ian Tyson, which is very impressive in the mid-'70s. Talk about Waking Up Beside You, Linda, and tell me how that came to be.
Well, Joe, our producer, said we needed nine more songs for the album, and so he wanted to sing along, which I wrote "Sing Along with Me," and that's what A&M picked to be the title cut of the album, which is "Sing Along with Me." But that morning, the 10th song on the album I really wasn't fussy about. So I said I wanted to write a new song. So I sat down and wrote Waking Up Beside You in a matter of about 15 minutes. And Joe came in, he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I just wrote this song and I don't know if it's any good or not." And he said, "Well, you better let me hear it, because when I wrote Sing Along with Me, I actually threw the song in the garbage." And he dug it out, and it ended up to be the title cut of the album.
Wow.
So I played Waking Up Beside You, and he said, "You know what? That's going on." He said, "That, that's a great tune." So that's how we ended up with that song on the album.
Well, that's great. And so this was now a 10-song album. When it was released, it was a 10-song.
That's right. Yeah.
That's great. Now, where were you doing your recordings? Was it in Ontario?
Yeah, it was at RCA on Mutual Street.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, RCA on Mutual Street. Love Don't Grow and Don't You Know Been Crying was Manta Sound in Toronto.
Right. So you've done a lot of songwriting then. And what is your songwriting? What's your creative process when it comes to songwriting? How do you go about doing that? Do you use an instrument to get a melody going and then write the songs or words around that? Or you just write the songs like a poem in your head or whatever when you're doing something and then put the instruments to it? How do you go about writing a song?
For me, it's I normally write a song starting out with the guitar, and I write the lyrics and the melody at the same time. I can't seem to do one without the other. So I get a good line and a melody to it, and then I build it from there, and then try to form some sort of structure and proper rhyme, which I was taught by Joe. He's very strict about that, proper structure and proper rhyming, and get the song to build, a verse and a chorus and a bridge, and the title should be here and the bridge should be there. And he used to tell me that one of the best songs for structure, one of the most perfect songs written, was Christopherson's "Help Me Make It Through the Night."
Right.
I don't know if you've ever heard that or not, but
it's like He Stopped Loving Her Today kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as the structure and the title being where it should be and that sort of thing. So I continue writing. I wrote a really nice song for Dennis, which he loves, and he's always asking me to write more stuff. So, but it's hard when you're learning songs and you're performing live, and he's always around. I don't think we have been apart for half an hour since March of 2020. Which is almost a year and a half.
That's great. That's good.
So, yeah.
Well, we got a couple of emails, Linda. So let me read you an email here. This one's from Craig Sampson, and Craig says, "Miss hearing your beautiful voice. See you on Sunday."
Hi, Craig. Hi, Craig and Rita. Just beautiful people, salt of the earth people. Yeah, we love you guys and miss you.
Awesome. Here's another one from Denny Hudson. Denny says, "I'm very proud of you, little sis. Love from Big Bro. By the way, great show, Barry. Thank you." Well, thank you for that, Denny. Much appreciated.
Yeah, Dennis was lucky. My Dennis, he got passed by Big Bro. They loved him. And my daughters, Lisa and Lindsay, they love him as well. So, yeah. And speaking of that, I forgot to mention Tom and Ann from Branch 11, RCL Branch 11. They've booked us 3 years, and they're really good to us down there too. And they become like family, where they take care of you, And Dennis has another family in Toronto that we should mention that I've met and had a chance to visit last week, finally, because of COVID, which is Angie and little Jack, Angie and Donald and Jack. Just lovely old people. And, yes, David, Jessica, Kevin and Teresa, Jeffrey.
And family,
right? And of course, my Lisa and Lindsay, and Lisa and Ev, and Lindsay and Jay, and Big Bro, and my sister, as I mentioned. I think I got everybody. So, and Ivan and Mary, who have kept us sane for the year. They're singers as well. Ivan sings a lot of Hank Williams and stuff when we get together and play songs, just acoustic and sing, and that's it. So we can't really do anything else. Go for groceries once a week and walk the dog.
And write songs and play your guitar. Here's another email from Judith. Judith says, "Great interview. The songs are awesome. And I finally got my name on reality radio. Thank you, beautiful voice." That's from Judith Kahn.
Judy Kahn. Yeah.
Sister.
She fed us lobster last time we went down there. She had us in garbage bags and a whole table full of lobster, and they were just delicious. Yeah. So we hope to get down this summer to see them again. And play some music and hear some music, and yeah.
Good for you. Now, Linda, who do you listen to when you're driving around in the car or doing something at home? Well, who do you like to listen to? Who are your favorite artists?
I love Whiskey Myers, Rolling Stone. Whiskey Myers, I love, and I like Tom Petty. I like all the country stuff. I love Bruce Springsteen. Tougher Than the Rest is one of my favorite tunes. And some pop, Michelle Pagliario, from Montreal. Don't Know What the Hell I Got. Remember that tune?
Of course.
And I love all the country stuff.
Of course. Now, I'm going to ask you something here. I want to know, I know you probably played with many artists in your time of playing live. What do you think the best jam is that you ever had? Who did you have the best jam with? It's putting you on the spot. It's a bit of a hard question. It's putting you on the spot. You got to think a little bit, but it's always also one of my favorite questions is who, and we could also talk about some of the artists that you've also met as well.
Oh my goodness, I've met so many of them, and especially in Nashville, there was so many of them. And Nashville, when you go down there in the studio, they all come. Like they were going to cut Love Don't Grow in a One-Man Show. They were going to re-record it Nashville style. They loved it the way it was, but Jerry decided, well, I'd like to hear it from our point of view. So into the studio we went, and some of the musicians that came there. The picture was taken in our Harlan Howard's house. I don't know if you know our Harlan Howard, the great songwriter.
Of course.
And Tom Collins and John Denny from Cedarwood, and so many people that I met down there, and they were really, really, really good to me. I've been lucky because everybody in the music business has been, shall we say, honorable and straight. Shall I say straight?
Yeah, and respectful. Sure, I'm sure.
Respectful and straight, and they all more or less took care of me. And Roy Penny was like my dad, And
amazing.
Roy is a class act, totally. And Brian Barron was too as well. Brian is not with us any longer, but Roy is. And my favorite jam. My goodness, because so many places that we did, like the Moose Lodge where I used to sing at, Army Navy, Tommy out there at Army Navy, with Roy Penny and Craig Sampson would come, and Brian Barron, and we'd get Mary Rowan up to sing, and Sheila Giberson, and I hope I don't forget anybody, because I don't want people to be insulted and think I forgot them. But yeah, just, you know, great musicians. And we're all like, you know, one big family sort of thing.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. And Caven's Alley, we'd go to the Moose Lodge or Hensel Circle, which is the branch 582, and then run to the Moose Lodge when Hensel Circle was finished, and then over to Caven's Alley on Sunday night. And everyone would come in and get up and sing a couple of songs. Our musicians that were there would get up and play. And like Phil Simone comes to mind. He's such a good guitarist.
Great guitar.
Yeah. And yeah.
Good. That's great. No, you're definitely thanking a lot of people. So that's your list is long, and there's so many, I bet, because there's so many people you meet over the years.
Some of them moved back to Newfoundland, like Wolf Doyle and Gary Gale and Aggie. I love Aggie. She used to come in all the time too. So yeah. Dennis,
that's good. That's great. That's wonderful. And so now, what is your favorite place that you've played? Like your favorite venue? What do you think that is?
That would be Pat and Bev Walsh Caven's Alley, and it's a little bar, 585 Lakeshore Road East, and it's a most happening little place. And they support all the bands. They have great bands on the weekends, and they normally have. Well, me and Dennis play there. Every other Sunday almost. And that's an open mic. So people come in and sing and play. And it's just, that little bar should be in the movies. It's Dennis's favorite place too, by the way. So he says.
And Dennis has definitely played an awful lot of places, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, he's retired now off the road. He's happy to be home, and he's just going to do local gigs with me and Tim, and write songs and sing and just relax and play when he wants to play.
Of course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's and you guys still writing material now? You still writing songs?
Yeah, we try. Yes, he's on my case all the time to get writing some more. And
yeah, you were saying that. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's sitting here smiling from ear to ear. I don't know if he wants to say anything to get a word in edgewise or not. But
well, you can't usually get a word in edgewise.
Well, that's okay. You know what? Dennis, it makes my job easy.
Indeed.
So that's not a problem. Not a problem at all. So that's great. Why don't we do this? Why don't we play your next song, Linda? And then we'll come back. This was released in 1981, and we'll come back and talk about this song. It's called Love Don't Grow in a One-Man Show. How does that sound, dear?
That sounds great. Thank you.
Awesome. Folks, I have the one and only Linda Eileen Kahn sitting with Dennis Kahn tonight, her husband, on the show. And we are going to listen to her song, Love Don't Grow in a One-Man Show, right here on this House of Musicians radio show on Reality Radio 101.
Where you and me used to live. Wonder if you need me.
Hey, welcome back, fine listener. We have three-time Juno nominee, Mrs. Linda Eileen Kahn, on tonight's show, and we just heard her song Love Don't Grow in a one-man show released in 1981. Linda, what I love about that song, it reminds me not so much of a country song, but like a carpenter song or something. So it's interesting that way. Talk about that song for a bit.
Well, I was doing a duo with in Kingston. I was in Kingston at that time with a friend called Roy Yant, and he used to travel a lot on the road. And he was telling me how his wife was, very upset with him and this and that. And so I said, well, you know what? From her point of view, right? I wrote the song basically for her, for him. So that's how that came about. And
that's because of his touring and stuff and not being home, kind of, or
yeah. He was, on the road, and she was home with their daughter, and so it's a sad situation for the folks at home, when. Well,
it's amazing how we can a lot of people get their songs from inspired. Their songs are inspired by other people's stories. So that's kind of what that is, which is amazing.
Yeah, most of my work it's always by somebody else,
Sure. And where did you record that?
That was at Massive Sound in Toronto, and John Capek produced it, and Milan Kimlicka did the strings, and that was Haywood Parrott engineered it. And Gene Martinick, Brian Russell, Tom Skizniak, Jorn Anderson, and backup vocals were by Bill Hughes, Alan Soberman, and Steve Kennedy. And the strings, as I mentioned, was Milan Kimlicka. So we produced that, like I said, trying to get that crossover market, which of course would broaden out the stations, the radio stations, which it did. It worked, and that was. That's why the vocal was a different approach than the A&M album, because I was told to sing it softly. So it was, I guess you would like Carpenter thing, right? So
it certainly reminded me more of a poppy song than a country song, which I like. So
yes.
Not that I don't like country music, because I do, but I'm just saying that it just comes across more as like a Carpenter's poppy song, which is great to have on a country album for sure.
Yeah, and it went on the A.O.R. charts as well. So I went in the top 10 on those charts, as well as country. So it worked, and then the other side was "Don't You Know I've Been Crying," which ended up at number 4 in the adult-oriented as well.
Awesome.
And then with the "'Cause I Love You" CD after that, we got tons of airplay on that, and released the next one, which is "I Don't Know How to Leave You." That got a lot of airplay too. So I must say the radio stations in Canada has been very kind, and I don't know how that would be these days. I think it's a much tougher market. I'm not sure, but you know what? I'm going to try it.
I mean, like the music scene and stuff.
CD out there, and it's just not going to end up on Spotify and iTunes and CD Baby, which our stuff already is, or my stuff anyhow. I want to release it again and hire a good promoter and see what airplay because it's really fun. Like we do interviews across Canada, people that are playing the single, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It sure is. And let me read you another email. This is from Krista Curry, and Krista says, and this is just a very warm email, very nice. I just want to say hello to my brother Dennis and sister-in-law Linda. We are listening to the interview from Cape Breton, which is awesome. You both hit the jackpot when you found each other. Great musicians, great people. Love you both. Krista, Johnny, and Leanne.
Ah, that's sweet. I've been getting all sorts of emails on my phone too. People are loving the interview, so my phone is dinging away over here.
Good for you. And when are you going to get down to Cape Breton again?
We're going to try and get down if we can this year. You know, it's still depending. It looks like everything's starting to open up, but we're going to give it an honest shot, and we'll know more probably by August. And if maybe fly down or drive down. We haven't decided yet. But We'll figure it out.
Now
Yeah,
that
and you
everything's
mentioned-
opening up,
Yep. Sorry, Linda. Go ahead.
I said now that everything's opening up, the time goes so fast. You know,
Yeah, well, that's the beauty thing. I think I heard on the news today that with first and second shots, 74% now are vaccinated. So I don't think we're going to be going back to any kind of more lockdown. So which means you can visit your family and musicians can get out and play. So we're really looking forward to that. I know they're doing lots of large shows in the States and that right now. So that's awesome. I'm glad to see everything getting back to normal.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And Linda, what is your favorite song to play on stage, do you think?
Oh my goodness, that's a tough one. My favorite one to play on stage.
I haven't heard her this quiet in a year.
I got her on the spot then. That's good. There you go.
Good one, Barry. And while she's thinking, hi, Kristen, Johnny.
You know what? I don't know, because one thing I refuse to put a song on my list that I didn't like, because you're stuck singing it for the rest of your life because someone hears it and they want to hear it over and over. At this point, I guess I would have to say it's a song I do with Dennis called "I'm Leaving It Up to You."
Okay, and that's an old country song, right? Or a rock and roll song, I think.
Yeah,
this is Jim Ed Brown.
It was Jim Ed Brown.
Is that who it was?
To start with, and then Dale and Grace, and then Donnie and Marie Osmond.
Right, there you go.
And then Linda and Dennis Kahn.
And then Linda and Dennis Kahn. There you go. That's awesome.
Dennis and Linda, yeah.
Dennis and Linda Kahn, yeah.
There you go. Well, it's. Why don't we tell the folks how they can find your stuff, Linda, online and whatnot, and not only that, talk about again some upcoming shows that you have. So everybody, maybe some people would love to come out and see you. Talk about that.
What was that again?
Sorry, I'm just asking your upcoming shows coming up and how people can find your stuff online.
Oh, well, they just have to cue in Dennis Kahn and Linda Wells, and Leaving It Up to You is on YouTube. When You're Gone is on YouTube. Those are under Dennis Kahn and Linda Wells. And of course, my recordings are all up there on YouTube, and it's under Linda Wells. Because I Love You could be Silver Wings, but it's still Linda Wells. And yeah, they're all there, except some of the A&M stuff, which I don't know where it went. It's signed up somewhere. The first gig that we have, well, Dennis has with Tim and the Roadhouse Boys this Sunday at Branch C44 Legion on Jameson outside.
Yeah, but if it's 2:00 start.
Yeah, but I think there's tickets. And again, on the 25th, I believe you're there, Dennis. And
25th.
Of July as well.
Or 26th, I'm not sure.
Well, whatever. And Dennis and I have some corporate gigs with Tina Talent around the city this month too. So things are picking up, and we're going to get busy again, hopefully when we're allowed to sing inside. You know, when they open up inside, we're really looking forward to getting back to Cave and Tally.
Yeah, you absolutely love that place.
We do.
Good. And so I'm going to go back to asking you again another question, which is, like I said, one of my favorite parts of the show. Tell me a crazy story that's happened to you, or what is the most trouble you've ever gotten into, Linda?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Dennis, you might want to close your ears here.
Yeah. I think you stumped her again.
Well, actually, I really didn't get into a lot of trouble that I remember. I know.
That's good.
Not really, no, because you know, I was a mother and a wife, and so I was pretty straight. I was lucky that I had band musicians that always took care of me, and no, I can't say that I really did get in trouble, except the guys made me laugh, and the trailer hitch breaking from BC to Hannah, Alberta, when we tried to do New Year's Eve, things like that. That, you know, stuff happens on the road, but you end up there. losing your voice in the last minute and with your head stuck over a pot of steam trying to get your voice back for the next day's gig, that sort of thing. But as far as anything like Dennis stolen trailers and
I was going to ask, have you ever stolen? I was going to say that. I was going to ask you, Linda, have you ever stolen a trailer and then put it somewhere and decided 3 weeks later you still needed it and went back and got it still there? That's never happened to you, eh?
Not yet.
Well, the funny part is that when someone stole it from them and the cops brought it back to them.
That's amazing. That's just such a funny story.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So thank God he's tame now. His wildness is gone and he's tame, I hope.
Well, yeah, we won't be stealing any trailers nowadays. Plus, you have to admit that nowadays it's just so much stricter to be doing anything like that compared to back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to walk the line these days, Barry.
You got to walk the line.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dennis. Sorry, Dennis, you were going to say?
I wouldn't recommend it to any young bands out there. You know?
But you got that right.
I remember coming out of Sudbury, Roy Payne and the Stompers, and we were in Roy's old van, the old Chevy van. And I'll tell you, the tires were literally, me and Roy are looking out the back window as we're driving. The rubber was falling off the tires. And we were praying we'd make it home, which we did back in Mississauga. And by the time we got back there, Roy said, he looked at me and my buddy Phil, and he said, you know what? The van is yours. I want nothing more to do with it. So, okay.
He just wanted it out of his hair, right?
Wanted it out of his hair, yeah.
Just some great artist stories. That's amazing, guys. There's a segment of the show that I like to do called, well, Gary LaBar, what do you think?
What do I think? Well, let me tell you something. For Linda, I think she's got a little bit of Loretta in there, a little bit of Dolly, even a little bit of Reba. And I love her vocals. I love the harmonies. I love the way the songs are put together. And, of course, we know Dennis is a phenomenal musician as well. So I'm wishing them the best, especially now since COVID is lightening up and you can get out there and gig again and promote. So I wish you the best.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to it, too. It's really exciting to... I'm very soon going to get my pedal board out and dust it off. And
oh no, more in the living room.
Yeah.
I have a steel guitar in the living room. I have, what else I got in here? Guitars, pianos.
Yeah, but that's great. That's what you want. Like my man cave is full. I got a drum set. I got tons of guitars. I got a keyboard, tons of amps. I just love it that way.
Oh, yes. That's a true musician, Barry.
Well, that's up in the music room, drums in the whole bed as well. But somehow half of it ended up down here in the living room, so that's okay.
Well, it's all. Get rid of the good furniture and get the drum set up in there. That's the way to go.
Yeah, now you're talking.
Well, that's what he told me the other day. He said, "Oh, we gotta get rid of that love seat." I said, "No, we don't."
That's Cape Breton way. Set it up and leave it. You know?
Right. There you go. What can I say, Linda? It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you this evening and have you on the show. Dennis Kahn, great to talk to you again. We've had so much fun in the past playing with multiple musicians and doing lots of gigs together, and it's something that will always be in my memory. Linda, absolute pleasure to have you on the show. You have wonderful songs. You're a wonderful songwriter, and I look forward to following your progress. And we'll get out and see you guys playing here sometime soon.
Oh, that's wonderful, wonderful! Thank you so much.
Bring your guitar, Barry.
Yes, I'll bring my guitar. Thank you both again, Linda. Thank you for coming on the show. And to the listener, I say thank you for being here, and always dance and sing. Let the music bring your soul to the surface for all the world to see. Until next time, have a shuffle your feet kind of week, and good night. You've been listening to This House of Musicians on Reality Radio 101.